What's up, everyone? So today I want to go over the secret to fat loss. What's so funny is starting off as a personal trainer and going into transformational coaching. Part of the reason I did this is because of the strategies I'm going to share with you today. You know, I've learned a lot as I've gone through my journey, and I continue to learn and I continue to grow, and I want you to do the same thing. And so I'm sure these strategies will work if you work the strategies. So the first thing is find that burning desire on why you're doing what you're doing. When I first started out, I thought everyone should just have the burning desire, but that's not true. It's in you, but it's about getting it out of you. And so ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? And then ask yourself the why behind the why. Get really specific with this. And I want it burning in your bones. I want you to feel it in your soul. You know, it's going to be a process. But really set a firm foundation for what process you're about to go through. Now, again, I want to make this as easy as possible. And so that for the fourth strategy that I'm going to talk to you about is really going to help you along the way. But it is a process. So really get deep down into that burning desire. Figure that piece out. Now, the second strategy, environment. What are you around? You know, I laugh about the Mexican restaurants with those warm chips. They drive me nuts. And whenever I would go to those places and I asked them not to give me the chips, if they got me the chips, I'm eating them. That's just the way that it's going down because they're good. Now, with that being said, depending on how strong my burning desire is, that would stop me from eating those chips. That's the only way I would ever stop myself from eating those chips. But why make it harder than it has to be? So use that strategy and figure out what your environment's like. What foods do you keep in your refrigerator? What foods do you keep around the house? And if they're too easy to access, you're probably going to access them on your weaker points. And so make sure you make it as easy of a journey for you as possible. Now, strategy number 3 comes down to pain and pleasure. We often want to avoid pain and we want to go into pleasure. So we can use this to our advantage. What gets people in trouble mostly is if they go on some sort of regimen, and a regimen doesn't have to be a bad thing. I don't like regimens are always changing, right? They always are. Okay? So, if you figure out what regimen you have to be on to move you forward, figure out how to give yourself pleasure for the regimen that you're doing, or avoid pain because of the regimen that you're doing. Let me break that down a little bit for you. So, let's say you've been on a nutritious pursuit for a month, right? Figure out a pleasurable thing to reward yourself with. And I'm not necessarily talking about reward yourself with more food, because that's what gets people in trouble too, is they'll go through a process and then they'll reward themselves and then they go backwards. So there's a couple options here. One could be reward yourself in something that you enjoy, a vacation, a time out, whatever it needs to be. Now, the other piece, this is where it gets very interesting. You can actually have a pain and a pleasure put together. And so if you need to reward yourself with food, then this is how you do it. Eat as much as you can within a 2 to 4 hour period, as much as you can, because this is what it does. One, you're feeling the pleasure from eating it in the beginning, but then you start feeling the pain because you're eating so much. Make it a 2 to 4 hour window and eat as much as you can. You're going to have to make it up, but that's okay. So do what you need to do, put it together, and figure that piece out. Figure out how you can create that pleasure in your regimen and how you can avoid that pain in your regimen. Now, number 4, this is an interesting one. Know what you are. Know how you race in the game. I know we have a lot of generalizations in life where they talk about slow and steady wins the race, but you might not be a slow and steady person. Figure out what works best for you. You know, just like runners, there's sprinters, there's long distance runners, and there's mid-level runners. Not everyone's trying to be like everybody else. Body fat coming off is going to be different from each individual. You know, I've trained hundreds of people through the process, and everyone has their own way and their own style of getting there. Different pleasure points, different pain points, different reasons why they're doing what they're doing. Different processes. I have some clients who need that momentum right away, instantly. They need that result. And I have some who want it slow and steady. Figure out what works best for you. Don't go with society norms, because that's what gets people in trouble. Is every time they listen to what the society says, and that might not work for you specifically. And so that brings you down. And so what I'm going to tell you is you got this. I believe in you. I believe in you, and I believe you can figure the process out. As you play with these strategies, these 4 strategies, it's going to get easier and easier and easier. It's a process. And if you fall down, it doesn't mean you can't get back up. So going through them again. The why behind the why. Where's the desire coming from? Get yourself in an environment where you can win. Number 2, that environment's going to be crucial. Make it easier on yourself. Know your pain points and your pleasure points and use them as strengths to move you forward. And know how you run your race. Know the best way that works for you. There's greatness in you, and I'm excited for what you can do. Leave a comment below if this is something that really helped you on your journey, and let me know. You all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.